Good afternoon, everyone. I think now we can start the meeting. So the agenda for the meeting is to focus on two areas: how to file nil returns on iTax and how to file returns for employment income. So today we'll start the training with filing nil return. So the first step is let's open the iTax page. As you can see on my screen. Can everyone see my screen?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So once the iTax page is open, you can log in with your iTax PIN. I'm starting with showing an example for how to file nil return. Yes, so this is what the home page of iTax looks like. So at this point, we want to start with filing nil return. To do that, you click here on, you just drag your mouse over the returns tab. A pop down will open, coming file return, file amended return, view file return, and the fourth option being file nil return. So you can click on file nil return. A new window will open showing the type, the taxpayer PIN, and the tax obligation. The tax obligation, you can click on the drop down arrow. It has three options: resident individual, non-resident individual, and rent income. Resident individual is anyone residing in Kenya and has a PIN. So at the moment we're doing for resident individual, so we'll just click on the first option and say next. So at the moment, all individuals need to file returns from last year January to December 2020. So the first, where you select the return period form, you select 1st January here, you look for 1st January 2020. Okay, this PIN was registered in June 2019. So we have to select the date from when the PIN was registered. Okay, sorry. So 2019 return wasn't filed for this individual. So first we'll have to file from June 2019. We have to file for, sorry, I don't remember the date of the PIN. Let me just select it here. It's 18th June 2019. 18th June 2019. So we'll have to file return for the first return has to, we cannot file for 2020 before we file for 2019. So we'll need to select 18th June 2019 here. It will automatically put 31st December 2019. You can then proceed to say submit. It will ask you to confirm if you want to file a nil return. A nil return is only filed in circumstances where you have no income during that period, no employment income, nor any business or any associated income. If that is the case, you can proceed to click OK, and it will give you an option to download your returns receipt. Once you click that, it will download a PDF, which looks like this. This is now the acknowledgement that the return for 2019 is filed. Once that is done, we can proceed with filing for 2020.
So Mohsin, will this generate a penalty?
Yes, this will generate a penalty of 2,000 because she had to have filed it before 30th June of 2020 for her to not to incur a penalty.
Okay, okay.
Yes. So let me just move this a bit.
Mohsin, may I ask you?
Yes.
Is this the penalty for annual returns, or is it the monthly VAT?
This is a penalty for filing the income tax return late, which is for per year.
It's an annual.
It's an annual thing, which runs from 1st January to 31st December of every year.
Okay, so the penalty is 2,000.
2,000 shillings for late filing, yes.
But the monthly VAT is the one the tax the penalty is 10K, 10,000.
Yes, per VAT monthly is 10,000, correct.
All right, okay.
I'm just stopping my screen sharing for a moment because I want to close this screen, but I'm not able. So I'm just stopping and then sharing it again. Okay, so you can see my screen. Okay, so let's now file for now the year 2020. You go back to return. When you go above return, it will open the drop down. You click file nil return. Tax obligation, you select resident individual. You select next. It is automatically picked the year 2020. Since the last year we filed was 2019. So you just select submit. Okay, and you just download the receipt. The receipt can be anytime. If there is an issue with iTax, you have a certain proof to take to KRA offices that you had filed the return. So nil return, this is I've showed you how to file a nil return. Is there any questions on filing nil return?
Yes, good afternoon. Thank you very much. I'm sorry I had problems logging in from my phone, so I'm now on my laptop. So I may have missed something.
Okay.
I'm interested in just knowing, yeah, how to do that nil return.
Okay, what we can do is, I've already shown it, but what we can do is I can arrange another specific meeting for you where I can show you how to file a nil return.
Great, I'd be grateful for that.
Okay, no problem. That one we can arrange.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so the next thing where I wanted to move on is filing return for employment income. If you are an employee and you're getting a text under the pay-as-you-earn scheme, you're deducted pay-as-you-earn every month, you need to file an year-end return for your employment income. So again, let's do an example. So you can log in on iTax. So now this is again how the main screen looks like. To file for employment income, considering the only income during the year was employment income, you go to returns, you select the drop down, which is ITR for employment income only, which is the 5th option. You just click on it. It opens this window. So it's already picking up that this individual is a resident individual and his PIN. The period you just select, at the moment we are filing for 2020, so 1st January 2020. Do you have employment income? You have to say yes, and then you proceed to next. So this is the window which comes up, which shows you the PIN, the name, and the period which you're filing. It has certain information where you additionally text if your employer has provided you with a car, if you have a mortgage, if you have a home insurance, home ownership savings plan, if you have a life insurance policy. Because of this, you get rebates, especially for insurance and home ownership savings plan. So considering for this individual, the employer didn't provide him with a car. He doesn't have a mortgage. He doesn't have a home ownership saving plan. He doesn't even have a life insurance policy, and he has no income from any foreign country. The bank details, if your final text at the end of the sheet comes to negative, that's when it will prompt you to enter your bank details as a requirement. But at the moment, since we have not filed it as a negative, this section is still grayed out. We cannot edit it. So once you have done this, we can move to next. We can click next. It will open section F. This is details of the employment income which this individual had. It will show the PIN of the employer, the name of the employer, his gross pay, and his total gross pay. This will automatically come in if your employer has deducted pay and submitted your pay according to your PIN number. It will automatically be reflected. You don't need to do anything on it. So if you're on this page and the details down here are okay, they're matching with your employer, you don't need to add anything on top of it. Until and unless it's something which is different from what is down here, then you need to change up here. For this individual, the employer has already filed his pay as yuan according to his PIN, so it's already showing his gross pay, what the employer has paid. So then you can move to next if it's okay. This section shows the details of the pay which has been deducted from this individual's salary. The same applies to this section as well, like section F. It will automatically be reflected of how much your employer has deducted from your salary and how much your taxable salary was and how much the pay was deducted and remitted on behalf of you to KRA. So even on this, on normal circumstances, there is nothing which needs to be edited on this page. We can move to next. This sheet focuses on details on income tax paid in advance. This sheet mainly applies to, it doesn't apply to employees because employees are already deducted pay as you want. They don't normally pay for their pay as you want in advance. So you can ignore the section and move to the next section. We can call next. So now this is now the tax computation, the total tax computation of how much your income was and how much. The last row is how much your tax is due, how much you need to pay to KRA. For employees, if your employer has deducted the pay as you want properly and remitted your pension and your pension, your NSSF properly, the tax refund due in most circumstances shouldn't be any amount. It should just be maybe a small rounding difference of maybe 50 to 100 shillings or something like that. It's okay. There's no problem if there's a difference like that. But if there's a big difference like 50,000, there's some details which you haven't entered, which is resulting to this difference. So for this individual, he had pension contribution, which he was paying. Pension is tax allowable. So before you get taxed, you can deduct pension from your salary. So pension contribution for this individual for the months of from April to December was due to, you see, during this year, during the COVID period 2020, the government had offered, due to COVID implications on the economy, the government had introduced new tax regime so that to increase the disposable income for the employees. So for that, that's the reason for the separation between January to March and April to December. So you just put the pension. For this individual, the pension from April to December was 94,300 shillings, including NSSF. NSSF, depending on the employer, if he pays new rate or the old rate. If it's the old rate, it's 200 shillings per month. So it's 200 times 12, which is 2,400. Well, yeah, you can put it over on this sheet. Once you've put the pension, this was the pension for the individual. If as employees, you need to request from your employer a P9 form, which will show your gross pay, how much pay was deducted, how much NSSF was deducted, and this will enable you to file this return very easily. So I advise all employees to request a P9 form from your employer. Once you have now kept the pension here, you also need to put your personal relief. Last year, during the COVID period, in April, it was announced that now the personal relief per month, instead of 1,408 shillings, it became 2,400 per month. So the personal relief for the year will become 1408. 1408 was from per month from January to March. So that's 1408 times 3. That comes to 4,224 shillings plus 2,400 from April for the balance of the year, which is 9 months. So 2,400 times 9, which comes to 21,600. So 21,600 plus 4,224, it comes to 25,824. This is a personal relief every employee is entitled to during any given year. So you put 25,824. So as you can see, the last row, the tax due or refund has come to 0.65 shillings. This is a negligible amount which you can just submit without without worrying about it. So at the moment, I'm not clicking submit. But this is how you have to file the return for employment income. Is there any questions which I can address at the moment before we proceed?
Kindly repeat, January to March, what was the relief?
1,408 shillings.
1,408.
Yes, per month.
Okay, and then from April to December, 2,400.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
I have a question as well.
Yes.
Sorry. What if the employer has not deducted
Yes.
the personal allowance, but on your return, you're obliged to add it, right? You're obliged to put it in, even though they haven't shown it on the payslip.
Sorry, what haven't they shown on the payslip?
The personal allowance per month, which is like 2,400, for instance.
Yeah, that is fine. That one is fine. That one you can put it. That one every employee is entitled, whatever the case.
Okay, so even if it's not shown on the payslip, you just put it on the return.
You can just put it. Yeah, you can just put it. Not a problem.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. And what if you had two employment incomes in the year?
Yes.
Like you are employed from Jan to June, for example.
Yes.
And then July to December. Will it automatically populate in this auto-populate?
Yes. You see on this section M, on this section F and M, both of them, you see this individual only had one employer. That's the reason it's just showing one. But if you had two employers and they were submitting their pay as you want on your behalf, they will automatically you'd see two companies here instead of one.
Okay.
Yes.
And then, for example, you had 2 employments in 1 year,
Yes.
and then there were some gaps. For example, 2 months, the person was not employed.
Yes.
So can you still claim the allowance of
Yes,
that
the
2
personal
months?
relief, the personal relief is standard. You get it all year through.
Even though you didn't work the 2 months.
Yes, it's fine, no problem. You can still put it. It's not something which KRA has given in any direction of not to claim or whatever. Every individual claims the full per year. Even if you try showing some different amount, sometimes it gives you have not claimed the correct amount. So you just put the standard amount, which is 25,824 for the year 2020.
Ah, great.
Yes.
Thank you.
No problem. Is there any other question or I move on?
I just have a question.
Yes.
Would this apply for like a consultancy as well?
No, for consultancy, no, actually that's where I'm heading. For consultancy, this is just for employment income purely. Only if your employer is you are employed somewhere and your employer has deducted pay as you earn, then only you file the return which we just showed for employment income only. For consultants and any other sole proprietor business or any other business which you're getting some income from, you have to file a different return, which I'll show briefly, but it's a bit of a very lengthy return. So maybe we can have another training on that, but I'll show on how to file that, on how it works. So for employment income, is there any other questions? Then I can move to business income.
Go ahead, I think we're good.
Okay, so let's now move to filing for business income. This includes if you have any consultancy income, if you're a doctor, if you're a lawyer, all individual run businesses, you can apply, you can do this return. So if you're a resident of Kenya, you just click income tax resident individual, you say next, and you download this. You see, it's saying click here to download the income tax resident individual Excel. You download the Excel version of it. You just say click here. It will download the sheet. It will download a zipped file. So if you open the zipped file, just open the zipped file. It will have an Excel inside. You can just open the Excel inside. So you just say enable editing as well as enable contact, because the whole workbook is linked. So this is what individual income tax return would look like if you had any other income other than employment income. So on the first the first sheet is for the basic information about you. So on the first cell, you indicate your PIN. I'm just doing a scenario where I can show you. So type of return is original or amended. There's a drop down which comes. Original is when you're filing it first time. Amended is when maybe you filed the return once and you found that, oh, I made a mistake and you want to amend the return. So you again download the same sheet and you'd say amended. But on first case scenario, you always say original. Return period for individual, it's always 1st January to 31st December. There is for companies, for limited companies, it can change, but for individuals, all the way through, it's just 1st January to 31st December. So notice they ask you some questions here. If you have any other income other than employment income. So if you say yes, it will open it added some new sheets. It opened a profit and loss. It made a balance sheet. It made capital allowances. It added quite some sheets. If you have partnership income, again, you can say yes. You have a straight trust income, you could have said yes. This now applies to the same thing which we filed on the employment income. If you have a mortgage, if you have this, so if you're an employee and you already filed on the employment income only, you don't need to do this. So now if you have a mixed income, maybe you also have employment income and you also have business income. So you can file this return where you also file for your business income and you also file for your employment income in one return. You cannot do two returns, that you also do that and the one which I showed you before. So on this one, the general idea is you fill this, then you need to make a profit and loss for your business or for your consultancy. You'd have to gross turnover, how much your turnover was. You put your expenses, if you had fuel, audit expenses, you have power, you have electricity, you have rent, or you list all those expenses down here. If you paid salary to someone, whatever you have done, you put all your expenses here. If the expense you cannot find in the category above, you can always put it as name of expense and the amount of expense. At the same point, you'd also have to file a balance sheet. That is the assets and the liabilities of your business. Assets is anything like a car, a company car, your furniture, your office furniture. It can be various things where you can put here. If you also hold shares, you have investments, you have stocks, you have receivables, you have cash in the bank or cash in hand. Your liabilities would be your loans and maybe trade payables, people, creditors. You put them here. Then there would be something capital allowances on fixed asset investments you have done. You can get capital allowances from the government at different rates. So even employment income combined can be filed on this sheet. You can file previous year losses. And on the end of the sheet, it will now show you your computation for your business, and it will combine with the employment income if you had both, and it will give you a final taxable income on how much you'll be taxed at. So this one is quite an in-depth return, which will involve having prior work done on having a profit and loss, having a balance sheet for the business in order to now file the return. So it's we can have a training, in-depth training on it as well. But if there's some questions on it, where if there are quick questions we can handle, you can give them.
Yes, Mohsin, I have two.
Yeah.
Firstly, thanks for your presentation. It's very useful
Thank you.
For amateurs like us, like me in particular. So just the first question is the one you just showed us, other income.
Yes.
I guess it's sole proprietor and partnerships, right? Because it's the PIN is A, right?
Yes. Okay, partnerships. Okay, what happens in partnerships is they have their own PIN. So when you file a partnership return, the profit and loss, the partnership does not pay any tax. The profit or loss of the partnership of the partnership business, it's distributed to the partners according to the share of partnership. So if there are two partners and the loss and the profit of the company was 100,000. So when we are filing the return for the partnership, we'll put your PIN and the PIN of the partner, and maybe if it's two partners, so it's 50-50. 50,000 will automatically come on your PIN that you have 50,000 of profit from this partnership business.
Okay, so it will open new sheets, I guess, when you select yes on the partnership.
Yes, so you see, I've said no. If I say yes, you'll notice some sheets got added here. You see, you got this sheet added, which is a share of profit and loss as for the partner.
And this is for that particular partner, right? Who you're doing the return for.
Yes. Okay. This one.
Don't fill for the other guy.
Yes. This is only for you. This is for the individual. For the partnership business, there is a whole different other return which you need to do on its own PIN. Partnership has its own PIN. It's not on the PIN. Only sole proprietor businesses have run on the PIN of the individual.
Okay, okay.
Yes.
And what if the year
Yes.
in question is like you've assumed the year is Jan to December?
Yes.
What if the business side of it, the year end is not December?
Yes.
It's say, for example, April. How do you apportion it?
Okay, for limited companies, you can do that. For individuals, the year end is always 31st December.
Okay.
For individuals and partnerships, you cannot you cannot opt for having different year ends. It applies the same to everyone, 31st December. But for limited companies, you can have different year ends. The rate, how you judge is you have 6 months from the end of whichever year end it is. If it's April, you have 6 months from April to file your return. So if it's April, you have May, June, July, August, September, October. By end of October, you should have filed your return.
That's the company side.
That's for limited companies. It doesn't apply to individuals and partnerships. Yes.
Okay, okay. So individuals, sole proprietors, and partnerships are spanning 1 year of December year end.
Yes, December once you cannot change. You cannot have a different year end for sole proprietors and partnerships.
Ah, okay.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that.
Is there any other question? Sorry, I didn't get your name. The one you had a question on consultancy income.
Sorry, yes, my name is Susan.
Yes. Susan, yes. So do you have any question? Maybe I can assist you with if you have seen and something you're stuck at.
Yeah, I think I'll need to maybe speak to you individually.
Yes,
and
no problem.
maybe you can direct me.
Yes,
then.
no
Thank
problem.
you.
Yes, we can do. Any other question in the room? Because that was the last agenda for the training today.
Yes.
Mohsin Adamjee?
Yes, yes.
How are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. This is Mr. Kamotho. I hope you remember me.
Yes,
I'm
Mr. Kawata, I'm good, I'm good. How are you? I remember you very well.
Very well. I'm just filling in my returns right away, even as they are explaining.
Yes.
I was working with you step by step, but I think I've reached, which level is this? The last level.
Yeah. Yes. You're filing for employment income only, or are you filing?
Yes, yes. Employment income only.
Okay.
And I'm in my last level, which you have called, I think, level what?
The tax computation.
Yes, section T.
Yes, yes.
Section T. And
Yes.
my balance down there.
Yes.
Is positive 631 shillings. What could I have not filled properly?
The pension, the relief. Have you put 25,284?
Yes, 25,824. Yes.
Okay. And the NSSF. Have you been deducted the new rates or the old rates? 200 per month.
NSSF. I think it's the old rates.
Okay.
That is now what you're calling the retirement scheme, eh?
Yes, because you see, if it becomes instead of 200, it becomes 640. It will affect the tax due. It will reduce your tax due if it's extendable. So maybe that is something you can check if it's new rates or old rates.
No, I have my P9 here, and it's the 200, the old rate.
Oh, it's the old rate. So 610, Bob, maybe sometimes, okay, when they were deducting and submitting pay on behalf, maybe sometimes there are small discrepancies, and sometimes KRA as well in terms of how they compute, because they changed some rates during last year, 2020, due to COVID and stuff. So maybe there were some ups and downs there. Small differences sometimes arise. It's not something very surprising.
So my difference currently is 631.
Yes.
Is that comfortable? Can I ignore that?
Yeah, that yeah, 631, or if you don't mind paying, because what KRA system does is, if you just submit and leave it, when you need the tax compliance, they'll ask you to pay that money.
Oh, anytime I need to go through their processes.
Yeah, anytime you want to download the tax compliance, especially for tax compliance, they'll ask you to pay your prior dues, even if it's 10 bob or 20 bob.
Okay.
Yes.
And I've been filling all through like for the last 5 years or so. And my difference has always been like 5 bob and all that. And I've always ignored that. I don't know why 631 now.
Maybe due to the change of rates, but we can look into it. We can look into it a bit in detail, and we see why it's coming up, the difference.
Okay. So I should not submit first.
Yeah, don't submit. We'll just have a quick look at it.
Okay, thank you.
I'm wondering whether, because the last section, Mohisen, was not very, I think it's quite in depth.
Yes.
And needs us to take more time. I'm wondering whether, did you hint that you were going to do another Zoom?
Okay,
or
the other training was on sorry, I can show you on employment. You're looking for employment income only. We can go through one time more, and we can just see maybe where we missed or where we didn't miss. But I'll just go through a bit more faster this time.
No, it's the second one. I think the second one is the company.
Oh yeah, this company return. Yeah, this one is quite in depth because it requires you to have profit and loss and a balance sheet, and that's quite some accounting as well.
Okay.
Yes, but that one we can have another training. We'll plan another training, and we'll be sharing the link for the training.
Okay, all right, that's fine. Thanks.
Welcome.
I'm okay with the first one. Thank you.
Okay, welcome.
So my question is,
yes.
If in the last year your business are one of those that have been devastated, so there's been hardly anything that you've done.
Yes.
So do you still need an auditor?
No. Is it a limited company or is it a sole proprietor? Is it on a sole proprietorship?
It was sole proprietorship that just moved to limited just before COVID.
Okay, limited companies, at the moment, limited according to the Act, they say you need audited accounts. But at the moment, KRA has removed the requirement from the individual, from the company filing, that you don't need to submit the PIN of the auditor. But sometimes for limited companies, audited accounts, even banks, sometimes if you want to open an account these days, they require audited accounts.
Okay.
Yeah, so for limited companies, it's a bit more, technical now.
So in a case where you're like in the tourism sector, travel sector, where you've had like zero, literally hardly any,
like,
so you still.
My advice would be, you see, maybe your income was zero, but your expenses were not zero. Maybe your expenses, you are still paying maybe some salaries, or you're still paying some rent or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
You always have that option that you can log in into your PIN and go and file a nil return.
Yes.
Nil return is that you didn't do any transactions for the year. But then if you do that, you'll also forego the losses which you could claim for future years. You see, if you file a nil return as zero, you see you have not also claimed any expenses. What you could do is maybe you could file a return claiming the expenses. You paid rent, you paid this. So at least you have a loss supposedly at the end of the year, let's say 1 million shillings. That 1 million, supposedly in 2021, you made a profit of 2 million. You can utilize that 1 million loss which you made in 2020 before you pay tax on the 1 million.
Okay, I hear you.
Yes, so sometimes it's good to get the expenses out there so that in case of now future profits, you have prior year losses, and you can carry up to 5 years losses.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. That's good. So Mr. Mushin, will you give us your number, or you'll give me an email address I can reach you on, or?
What I can do is
after this,
on the chat. What I can do is on the chat. I'm just sharing right now my email.
Yes.
If there are any questions, you may just email me. Then we can speak from there.
Thank you.
No problem. Welcome.
Sorry, Mohsin. I
Yes.
tried to populate my return. I haven't filed it yet, but
Okay.
I'm getting a negative 10,000, and I've done everything right. I mean, I've not changed anything. I put all the numbers. I plugged in all the, personal allowances, pensions, whatever.
Okay. Last year, what happened is, due to the change of rates in April and March, a lot of employers in April, especially in the first month, they submitted using the old rates. But you see, what had happened is that there was some relief. So you see, maybe your employer deducted more, than what KRA required. This is the reason for now it going into negative.
Okay, but they won't audit me if I do it, if I file it with negative, right?
10,000 is very small to start an audit.
KRA is looking for money right now, man. So they can attack me.
Yeah, no, but 10,000, you don't need to worry. If it was 1 million, I would have told you maybe we change something. But 10,000, no, not to worry.
No problem, no problem. I wanted to just say to the gentleman, Peter Kehara, right? Yeah, I normally used to get those small things. I used to pay by M-Pesa. When you generate a PRN, it automatically updates in a minute, and you can see it on your ledger. So I wanted to just share my experience on the small bits.
Yeah, thanks a lot for sharing that.
Cool.
Okay, so I think we're all okay. If there's anything, you can reach out to my email. We'll be in touch, and if there's anything, we'll always try and help you. Thank you. Bye.
Okay. Yeah, Mohsin.
This was very useful.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for attending as well.
Thank you.
Yeah. Maybe I need visitation.
Sorry?
I'm saying maybe for me, I need visitation with my revenue B9 card.
Yes, no problem. No problem.
Sorry, because I was somehow late, and at least I can find you. I know where.
Yes.
This is Michael. This is Michael.
Yes. I saw you. Your camera was on a bit for some time.
Okay.
Listen.
Yes.
You said that it is probably better to file, instead of doing new returns for a company, it's good to put in some expenses so that you can claim them.
Yes, so that you can offset it against future profits.
So does that then mean you don't go to the column for filing nil returns?
Yes, you don't file nil return. You have to file this big return, this one, the Excel. For limited companies, it looks a bit different, but it's the same kind of a thing, but it's a bit different for limited companies, if it's a limited company.
Okay, I don't think I get it.
You see, like, is it a limited company? Your company, is it registered as a limited company?
It's limited, yes.
Yes. So you see, limited companies will have their own pins. It's to start with a P something. So there, if you log in on iTex with your company pin, when you go to file return, there's an Excel you can download. The same way we downloaded this Excel.
Yes.
Yes. So on that, now we need to file not nil return, but we'll put expenses. We'll put income, maybe not zero, but maybe there was a small income. But expenses, we'll put all the expenses, rent, salaries, whatever you had, you paid for the year. And then maybe you made a loss of maybe, let's say, 2 million shillings. So that 2 million shillings will automatically be updated on your iTex. Now, when we file for 2021, and you made a profit of 4 million, We'll utilize that 2 million first before we pay checks on the 2 million.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
I get it. I
But
get
you
it.
see,
But,
if you file the
but
nil
on the
return,
monthly filing as a limited company, you
yes,
still continue to file it as nil, right?
for a monthly
Yeah, the monthly filing.
VAT,
Yes.
the VAT and pay as you earn.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, that one you can, if you don't have that one, you can consider it. That one is nil. That one, if there's no transactions, you just do nil.
Okay.
But you
all
see,
right.
there are some expenses which do not attract maybe VAT, maybe rent. You don't get VAT for rent, supposedly, example. Maybe there are some other maybe there are some other expenses you're incurring, like fuel or whatever, car hire,
Yes.
or anyone, which you're not. So those ones you can still claim end of the year.
Okay. All right. That's clear. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and have a good day.
Likewise. Bye.
Okay.
So maybe the last question from me is
Yes.
that, so we need to file by the middle of next month?
No, you need to file by 30th June.
30th June.
Yes, 30th June. By 30th June, you should have done the returns.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Are these returns for the limited companies or individuals or?
Okay, for individuals, 30th June. For limited companies, you see, they can be different dates. So we'll have to see when the date of year end is to know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, Mohsin.
Thank you, Madam Jane.